Muhudhia for that kind introduction. Sorry, I had misplaced my laptop. That's why I was late. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about the status of exclusive breastfeeding in East Africa. I'm very passionate about breastfeeding. He didn't say I'm also, or I used to be an active pediatric nephrologist. But when I found that, newborns are coming there, aged 5 to 7 days with acute renal failure, I thought of crossing over and fighting that battle of breastfeeding. And I promise that after 3 years, you're going to get results. 1 year is almost gone. Breastfeeding is very, very important, such that if you want to lower our admissions in the wards, we really that's the way to go. So that mothers just do it. Mothers, we have implemented some of these things piecemeal. For example, the baby-friendly hospital initiative. We really flew with exclusive breastfeeding. And so the mothers really got it very well, exclusive breastfeeding. Even when there's no milk at all, I'm just doing exclusive. But exclusive breastfeeding is a package of many other things, supporting the mother. If there's no support, you cannot implement a fragment of an intervention. And that's, I think, what we have done in Kenya. We took a fragment of exclusive breastfeeding, left the other components, and so it's backfiring because of the acute renal failure we are getting, because of the babies who have been starved and the kidneys have shut down because of dehydration. The targets of exclusive breastfeeding and some of the things which are very important. So on this side, we have the percentage of babies breastfed within an hour. So the target is what is in red, which is 70%. African countries in general, we are at 53%. And we see how we are doing in Kenya. Breastfeeding should be actually in the first 5 minutes of delivery. But whatever you are giving, whether EBM or whatever you are giving, it should be given within 1 hour. Then percentage of babies under 6 months exclusively breastfed, the target is 70%, but in the African countries is 45%. In the developed countries, the target is different, is lower. But they're in a different world, as we shall see. So we should not copy them. In fact, for this one should even be higher in Kenya, in Africa, because from what we are going to see, it's possible even to maybe hit 100%. Next. Yeah. So this is something I showed on the other side, because as we talk about breastfeeding, we should connect with an outcome measure. So this shows the trend of neonatal deaths from 1990 to 2022. And what we see, and the red there, the end there is annual rate of reduction of the neonatal mortality rate. So for Burundi, they started at a neonatal mortality rate of 40. That's neonatal deaths per every 1,000 live births. And in 2000, they were at 37, and now they're at 20. So you can actually see there's some improvement, yeah? Yeah, a lot. Now, let me skip Kenya. It's already in red. Rwanda, if you go to Rwanda, they were at 42 in 1990. And with the genocide, they dropped a bit to 43%. And now, look at where they are, 17 deaths per every 1,000 live births. Rwanda is one of the countries which will achieve the SDG goals in Africa, together with Malawi. Now, we can see the rest of there's at least a decline. The annual rate of reduction is positive. It's more than 1. Now, let's go back to our country. We started very well. In fact, I think in the 90s, we were doing very well. We were at the top there at 27, far from the rest. 2000, we were at 25, and now we are at 20 deaths per every 1,000 live births. You see, we look at the last column, the one for 2022, you'd say we are not doing badly, isn't it? But look at the trend where we started. So Kenya is actually, unless miracles happen, will not be able to achieve the SDGs. And now, look at the rates in the developed countries. They are like no debts. Then we are actually getting interventions from there, putting them here. So the breastfeeding, that's why I said in Kenya and other countries should be 100%. These ones, they're not fighting mortality as such, and maybe these are unpreventable. Ours are preventable. Yeah, even the under 5 deaths, again, we look at them, and just want to draw your attention to Rwanda. It's just doing very, very well. John Baptist from Rwanda. You're doing very well. Yeah. Yeah, he did his postgraduate here, so we feel proud of him. So in Rwanda, you see in 1990 where they were, and look at where Kenya was. Can you see? Now, because of the genocide, that Rwanda went up to 185, and now they're at 38 deaths per of the under 5s. And in Kenya, we started very well off, 1990. We are now at 41. So with other countries, we are actually at par, but remember where we have come from. So we have a lot of potential. We have guidelines, they are all over. But I'm sure he'll go with some guidelines even from here as he goes home. We are very good in developing guidelines. The problem is implementation. And then look at the mortality rates in other developed countries. So those projects they are doing there in the high-income countries cannot be put here without taking context in consideration, because our problems are preventable with very, very cheap, affordable, tested technologies. That the simplicity of these technologies is actually the enemy of the implementation. Now let's go to our subject. We have seen how we are doing in terms of mortality. Okay? Now let's go to, I start with Rwanda again. So here it shows opportunities for improving breastfeeding practices. We have early initiation of breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding, and the under 5 mortality, which for this is for 2022. What we have there, again, this data sometimes may not be comparable because some countries have got the sources as old as 2017, others are 2016, but in Rwanda is 2022, yeah, for all the variables. And as I told you earlier, their KDHS, their DHS, I would really like you people to go and look at it. It's very, very informative. You can see people who are looking for action, looking for data to advise action. So early initiation in Rwanda is 85%. We saw the cutoff was 70. The target was 70. So that's why I'm saying in Africa it should be 100%. Exclusive breastfeeding in Rwanda, 81%. And under 5 mortality, we have already talked about it. Burundi is also doing very well. It's one of the countries which have reduced their mortalities by 2/3. Rwanda is over 3/4, but Burundi is by more than 2/3. And look at their initiation rates, it's 89%. And Rwanda data is at 2017 data. So maybe even now they are higher. Exclusive breastfeeding at 85%, and under 5 mortality, we saw how it has really improved. Uganda is also a country which has reduced their mortality by 2/3 since 2000. Look at their rates. Uganda data for exclusive breastfeeding is also an old data for 2016, because that's when we have their KDHS. Maybe they are doing better now. But look at what is happening there. Now, look at our country, Kenya. Actually, in 2014, we were at 61%. Early initiation, I think we were at 56%, but 62, early initiation. We were at 62%. Now, we are at 60%. Exclusive breastfeeding, we were at 61%. Now, we are at 60%. We saw the decline in mortality. So we cannot say we are doing very well. We don't need these other things. We need to learn from the example, from the countries which are making it. And Tanzania is also a country which is doing very well. It has also reduced its mortality by more than 2/3. So what we are actually finding here, we are here for a very good reason, to promote breastfeeding and what we should do. We know what we should do, but we don't know how to do it. Yeah, so this one I talked about it, about the poor availability of data. It's everywhere in Africa. Africa, we are very disadvantaged in some of these things, yeah? Now, when you come to Kenya, in some places we are doing very well. I had a map, but now it's hard to show it here. So some places they are over 70%. We can see Cliffy 90%, Kiabu 84%. So it means it's achievable. But some places are doing poorly, and they are actually lowering our breastfeeding rate in the country. We see Nakuru 41%, Kisii 33%, Barigo 43%. This is the KDHS of 2022. Nairobi, where we have the elite, 57%. So you can see we have a problem. And actually 11 of the counties, not countries, have exclusive breastfeeding rate of less than 50%. So even these ones which are trying very much, they are brought down by... Yeah. Now, this bothers me a lot. And I said I'm going to go alone, or as I wait for everybody to follow. So our postgraduate students, I really, really thank them. They have been very, very supportive in whatever we plan to do. So we had a training for health workers. We invited people. We didn't even have funding. No, so we can give knowledge, but we will not give money. So we called them for knowledge. They were to pay their bus fare and everything else. And we had 175 people attending from Garissa, from Lamu, from all over the country. We had a whole day talking about breastfeeding. And that was in February. And I have a group for super moms and dads. This group gives me life every morning, and every time I look at it, I'm so happy. We have now over 800 mothers in the group. And every time I keep on throwing something, breast milk is 87% water. Breastfeeding improves the intelligence, and I show data. I love data. So that group, some of the people here actually belong to that group. These are the things which sometimes you can do something small, but do it smart. Because we don't have funding. I'm sure there's funding, but at least where we are, we don't have funding. This doesn't require money. And I'm very happy Ara is here. She's one of the people who have been very, very active. And other pediatricians and neonatologists, even obstetricians are in that group. So that's very useful. So we in Kenya, now we taught John Baptist, Dr. Baptist, we taught you people, we brought ETAT. You're even doing better than what we are doing. Now we need to learn from Rwanda especially, how you achieve the targets, because we have the capacity, we have the ability. We taught them. So we now need to go there and see how to implement. Thank you.